So another little project in between I have in the garage. So this is Audi Q3. I've actually removed the headlight from it. Forgot to start filming, which got smashed. And this is an LED facelift headlight, over £2,000 for one of them headlights, believe it or not. And obviously got damage here. The wing's slightly crooked, just where it's been pushed. And then this trim here at the bottom. So this bumper is actually a lot of different pieces. Probably better showing you on the good side. So this section here is a piece. This is two pieces stuck together. This bottom section that runs right along is a piece. Obviously your grills are separate. So it's not a bumper, so to speak, but a bumper kit. So we'll be replacing this bottom edge, which runs right across up here, which I'll show you when I have it unwrapped. We'll be taking these panels off and then building it onto the new side. I'm still waiting on this section here, unfortunately. With the bank holiday, the post has beat me, so we'll get all this taken off and have a look at it. So, well, it looks like a simple little knock. I mean, this is probably the guts of £3,500 if you were £4,000. So put new bumper parts on. I've managed to source a second-hand headlight, which I've tried already, and I'll show you shortly. Very lucky with that, actually finding one. So yeah, I'll get this taken off. I'm just going to strip the bumper off, starting with the bolts in here, get the plastic liner out, and then that allows me access for bolts here and then bolts underneath. So I'll take them off and show you when the bumper's off where the mounting points were and what it looks like underneath. This is also a washer jet here because they're LED lights. This has a washer on it. There's a wee jet in behind this, comes out on a tube as you squirt your headlights. This actually comes out and in. So a lot of technology that unfortunately can cause problems when it goes wrong. So let's get a few screws and bolts taken off in here and we'll have a look at it all in pieces. We actually have another one here at the minute which we're doing, which is a facelift one. Yeah, let's get stripping and see what's behind it. Okay, some bolts later and I'm near enough ready to take it off. So before I go too far, take this black plastic cover off. You've got 4 screws on top. When you pull the wheel arch liner back, you have 1 screw up into here, which allows you then to pull the white plastic of the bumper back. I could show you over here. So just where this goes through here, there's a screw up through there, just there, and then that allows the bumper to come loose, and it'll pull off past the headlights. The headlights don't need to come out, but just be wary, they are expensive. And then underneath, there's just a series of bolts along the bottom of the plastic tray. They're all the same size. They're all, let me see, won't zero in. Yeah, T25s. So the majority of them are T25s. A couple of larger ones in the top here. So that's it. I'll pull the bumper off and we shall have a look at the back of it in the different sections. Obviously I've pulled this wee trim off here and disconnected the squirter hose off the jets, which is just a wee blue tab. You just push it in. Remember, you're going to lose the contents of the bottle at the same time, so bucket underneath and catch the majority of it. So we'll get the bumper right off the car here and have a look at the back of it. So another two I forgot to mention. Looking down in behind here, we'll see if I can. So that head of that bolt down there, and obviously I've got the one out of the far side as well. So just another two to remember that I nearly forgot to mention. So this is the bumper off. So other things you should note on this side of it, where the blue hose is here, you disconnect it from the washer jet. There's also another one actually into the bottle. You need to disconnect that and let that come away with the bumper. And the bumper has a temperature sensor on it, so there's a small plug there you need to unplug as well, and then that lets the bumper away. So you end up with the foam backing on here, that's a replaceable part. All the grille, basically everything you see, every section there's a different colour, is a different piece. So you think you've got a one-piece bumper, but this is where when insurance issues arise, because there's so many bits and it starts to become expensive. If you take each piece there as, you know, probably close to 100 to 200 odd pounds, it starts to add up. So hopefully that made sense. I'm going to remove the headlight here just to check my gaps on the other side, just to get my wing lined up, because I believe here there's it's a wee bit out of shape. Now the wing has survived, it's just been pushed out of the way, so I'm going to have a wee bit of a straighten at that. And then I also need to get a bit of this trim here is broke off, so I'm going to need to get part of that as well. So yeah, quite a substantial wee bit of damage for it was only a wee slight knock. So let's get on with it here, and we'll start looking at the pieces getting painted. Just wanted to show you this here. So this is a headlight or a bumper mounting bracket that goes on here under the headlight, and there's also a big tray, that tray up underneath the headlight. They link together and they hold the headlight mounts into it, and then the tray holds the whole front bumper mounts onto this. So this was actually snapped, it's broke at the edges. That's the part that goes in, and the trim, the other moulding off this is totally smashed and missing. So back on the Audi Q3, and this is the section of the bumper now, which has came in primer. It's finally arrived after the bank holiday weekend. So I've got this section here, and then the bottom section that it slots into here, that runs along the bottom of the bumper. And if you remember, the bumper is still semi-complete, so it's that bottom strip that runs along there, and obviously this section here that I now have pulled out of that, so that'll be getting replaced. We also have the trim has arrived for underneath the headlights here, which I'll do whenever I'm fitting up, and I'm still waiting on a tray that the headlight fits in, so we'll get a look, we'll get painting here. Okay, so moving on to the Audi bits here, I've got them on the stand here. I've actually just did a wee coat over them there just to get it going, and then I thought I would film it at the same time. So this is a pearl white, so these parts arrived in grey primer. Basically just give them a Scotch Brite, like grey Scotch Brite, and then we've got them on the rack here just so that I can get access to them all around. The washer jack cover came with it. I still have one already, but I'll paint that because the two whites, even though it's the same colour code, could be different. Even just fitting that cover onto there from the last bumper might not just match. So then this is the whole bumper section, as you can see, that this piece actually slots into on the bottom, but we'll video that when we're doing it. So as I say, I've already got a wee dust coat on there just to get it covered, let it sit. Very, very warm here today, so no heater or anything on. And what I'll do is a couple of coats, another sort of wetter coat onto it, and then a couple of dust coats, drop coats, because it's a pearl, it changes in the light, it's a metallic, so it helps spread the metallic out in it. So we'll do that. I'm just going to put it on a laps, and you can watch me doing it. Like I say, a couple of coats off the base coat, and then a couple of coats off lacquer, and it's drying very quick today, so yeah, let's just get on with it. Okay, quick look, because I want to get it. I want to do a bit of heat actually now just to let it dry, but that's the 2 coats of lacquer on and the coats of white. So that's us. Come back to tomorrow, we'll get another look at it and start getting it built up. Okay, so we're going to continue on with the Audi here. You see me getting the bits painted the last time they're in the booth. So we're going to go ahead and we'll get the bonnet up here and get some parts fitted too. Okay, so first part we're going to do this headlight panel here. I'm going to get a second hand one. We're going to fit it in here. We'll get the headlight fitted. Got the front panel to go on here and around to here. Got that new, and then we'll get the headlight fitted, and then we'll take a look at the bumper and all the bits. So continue on a wee bit of building, a wee bit of repetitive stuff today. So once the compressor stopped, we'll carry on with it here and we'll see how we go. So as I was saying, headlight panel, as you can see in this one, the only difference, this here piece is missing, so that got snapped off, and that's actually where the headlight mounts to in the back, and then the headlight actually slides in on this panel, so it just goes in here. So we'll get this fitted, a couple of bolts, give it a bit of a clean up here, and then we'll start building the front end on here. Okay, I'm going to give you a wee close up because that was, it's a wee bit fiddly. So you have bolts in there, in here, you have a mount in here that actually survived. Then you have this plate which bolts in and bolts into this in 2 locations here and here. They're all the same size torque heads. Let me see, should have been better prepared for that. T30s. So all the bigger headed ones, all the ones here, and then the one at the back. And then that actually clicks into the wing as well, so it makes everything just a lot more solid. And as you can see now, when the headlight goes in, the headlight slides into these wee channels, and that gives it its support. So an important piece. Ties just shows you how one wee bit of broken plastic and just can let the whole lot move, and there's not really a lot of strength in it either, unfortunately. It's sort of the downside to it all. But anyway, that's it done. As I say, I'm going to get this cleaned up here, get the wee labels off it, and then we'll fit the headlight and start fitting everything else back up. I've need to tighten. I've just noticed that's loose as well. That took a knock. As you showed you before, it went right back as far as the squirter bottles. So I'll have to connect up the hoses for the squirters, and then a few other wee clips and hoses and wires were off and stuff off the headlights here. It's just a headlight loom. So yeah, that's about all we can sort of say in there. There's a couple more bolts up through here as well to pay attention to. There's one tricky one. There was a small rivet with a wee slider on it, which actually had to cut off, and it deteriorated that bad. So yeah, let's crack on, get it built up, and get the headlight back in and get it all starting to go through all the final fitting. Okay, moving on to the front bumper. So what I'm going to start doing is taking this bottom section off. Hopefully what I can do is take the bottom section off, leave the majority of this together, and then fit the other bit on the side here. So there's a few bolts and stuff to take out here. our Torx. There's also a temperature sensor. That's actually your temperature sensor if you're ever looking for it. The exterior, if it ever needs replaced, it's just a wee plug. Again, it's going to be a nightmare because it's buried in the back. And then there'll be this black plastic trim. This will come off this. So I'm going to start working through this here and start taking out as little as I have to, because it's only really the bottom section that I'm replacing in this bit over here. So we'll see how we get on. It's been a wee while since I've taken one of these apart. So I'll just pick through it and then I'll come back to you. Once it's done, we'll have a look at it. Okay, that's it stripped, and I had to pretty much take the bottom panel off. I had to take pretty much every screw out. I had to take the cover off and all these backers, which was a bit of a nightmare. This bottom piece of trim off, and this was a particularly tricky one. What I would say to you, if you're ever going to have to try and replace this, now this was hit as well, so it did have a wee split in it. But if you're ever trying to take these off, yeah, buy a new one. Don't try and take that. These are designed for one fit. These wee clips, once they clip in, they're in, you know, and it's very, very hard to replace stuff, as opposed to just putting a new one in. So that's it out anyway. I'm going to just, it's sort of sucking up a lot of time here. I want to get this back in when it's fresh in my head. So I'm just going to go and do the opposite. I'm going to fit this on first, fit this bottom trim to it, and then a load of screws in. As you can see, every one of these spaces here is where a screw mounts into, and then there's a back bit of plastic goes on it. It's just one of them things you just have to strip to see where everything goes. There's screws here, right the way along, everywhere. So it is definitely not just a bumper, it's a bumper kit. So I'll go ahead and start getting this built up, and I'll show you with the trim. That's the old damage trim off here, and obviously where it was hit, cracked and smashed. So we'll get it replaced now and built up, and then we'll have a look at the bumper sort of finished. Right, the completed bumper, and that took absolute ages. The amount of screws, getting these panels to fit together, lining up the washer, the panels with all the gaps here. That's the new piece on the bottom. It's a bit dirty, obviously, my hands have been around it. And then over the edges and around the back end, the hose is connected again onto the wee jets. The wires all clipped into place. And then this one is just to go on to the washer bottle. This wee bracket was a bit broke, so I put a washer on it just to strengthen it. Although there's only just a jet of water in that. That shouldn't affect that, but it'll keep in line. But all these screws and bolts and everything right around, unbelievable amount. I should have actually counted them, but it's definitely a project if you're going in here to do this. I forgot how involved it was, but we're there now. Everything's complete. A new section on. As you can see, they don't even put any paint around the back either. It's just a hazy overspray. So yeah, that's it all done and dusted. So we'll get it over towards the car, and I'll just put it onto a lapse for putting it on probably, and hopefully that's it. Not forgetting also when you're connecting up, so temperature sensor needs connected up as well over this side. I think, or else I have to route it back over here again. I have to check and see when I put it over to the car, see where the plug is, so that'll determine what side it goes along. Beginning to think now it's probably the other side here. I've just done it upside down, so we'll take a look anyway and get it built up. Okay, after a lot of fine tuning and adjustments, screws, couple of wee clips broke, that's us finished. So just done a test of the lights, and I'm going to just do the washer squirter fluid, and as you can see, everything's perfect except it didn't happen, which is what we were after. I'm probably in a perfect situation to replace all the well up here anyway. everything's always replaced, all the grills and plastics, but that's what happened. So bits of plastic there, bits of trim, bits of the moulding there, and believe it or not, that actual bottom section there, just that lip, them two trims and that piece there was near 700 quid. So yeah, very lucky we were able to fix everything and fix the wing, etc. So should be a happy man to get his car back anyway. So that's the end of it. I know it was a wee bit over the place. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you were able to follow it. So if you did, give us a thumbs up. Please check out any of my other videos, especially some of the builds in particular on that. Days of Thunder, NASCAR, road legal car. So other videos there you can see, and there'll be some suggestions in the corner. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.